Good afternoon, New York. This is the Jayson Buford Show. I am your host, Jayson Buford. We have the greatest guest today. I've been jacked for this for like a week now. My brother, Will Menaker, the host of Chapo Trap House, one of the hosts of one of the greatest podcasts we have in the stratosphere, in the podcast sphere. And he's a really great personal friend of mine and someone I really respect. So it's great to have Will on.
Happy to be here. And you know what? Like talking about politics is washed. So I'm trying to, make a transition into the world of amateur sports punditry. So.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get our Stephen A. Smith on today. We're gonna get our first take on.
This brother right here is special.
Skip, you know that I do not fuck with the Holocaust, but I was originally, when I wanted to have you on, I wanted to really talk about just the world of sports and how it feels like Donald J. Trump has been able, along with Joe Rogan, there's a crew of people who have been able to kind of infiltrate into the sporting world and to the sporting scene.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the UFC is that. That's like the Trump sports league.
Oh yeah, no, that's
and the fact that it's becoming the most popular sport in America should tell you something.
It's really
nothing good, but yeah.
No, those guys are Trump will show up to those events and just he will literally look like the guy who Vince McMahon will come in and that'll literally be Trump at the UFC events. They'll clear away as if he's an athlete coming through the tunnel.
Yeah. He's coming out to bring the pain by Method Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Mike Tyson coming out of DMX or something
Yeah.
That's what they bring. That's what they do for Trump when he goes to UFC events. He's been also able to infiltrate the NFL in a very compelling way, I think. The Trump dance coincides with they stripped away the end racism side.
Yeah. Yeah. Or choose love, end racism. This advertising is now going away in the NFL. But I mean, I always love that stuff where it's choose love, end racism, because it Or remember the time out for hate campaign that Brady and Shaq did? Because it always implies that there's an option to choose hate or just start racism, because end racism in one end zone implies that the opposite message would be carried by the other team. Or time out for hate implies that the timeout will be over, and then it's only about a minute and then hate starts again.
Yeah, it's also just they always make it into the most broad thing in the world. It's never any specific thing. It's incredibly broad. They only work if they're incredibly broad.
And it's an odd message for professional sports, which is to a large degree based on hate. I mean, that's part of the fun of being a sports fan, is hating other sports fans in other cities. So
we hate the Miami Heat, bro. We're not standing.
Yeah. I don't love the Boston Red Sox or the people who root for them. They're scum to me.
Exactly.
And I guess I guess this is why, I think Trump and his fans do find kind of a natural fit into the world of sports, because I mean I think sports functions as a kind of pressure release valve for it's a way for Americans to get excited over petty small rivalries and differences and exaggerate it in a way that it is safe and fun to experience hatred for your fellow man, because if people don't have an outlet for that, then we see the natural consequences of that.
Yeah, no, it's they're definitely I think they're definitely peas in a pod in a way. I saw a really funny photo that Kirk Cousins was in the White House, and there was a tweet that was he's talking about how he got his job taken from him from a DEI candidate.
Yeah.
No, I mean Kirk Cousins and Trump. That's like something that I would be surprised if they didn't befriend each other. You know?
He's swag surfing at the White House. Everybody.
Yeah, there was
I think athletes respond to Trump because Trump is always. I think he's someone that like understand. I think he understands sports culture. I mean, it's an open question how much he actually likes sports. I know he loves golf, but I think he understands winning, and I think he understands petty tribalism and just braggadocio. So I think like him and professional athletics make for a natural fit.
Yeah, I also noticed that the athletes he tends to really gravitate towards too are like the kind of like empty slate athlete that isn't talking about anything but winning. So like he loves Tiger, right? Like Tiger's his boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the part of it is just like I think rich people in general really really love golf, but there's something about Tiger where it's just like he's just a winning machine, and so that's the type of person that he wants to kind of like emulate.
Yeah, he wants to associate. Like it's just all about associating yourself with winners and winning, and despising losing and losers.
Right. Yeah. It's like yes, exactly. And that's similar to his entire spiel when you like watch him do watch him with the press or watch him at a debate. It's like kind of attack, this whole thing. So he tends to really, and I also think he tends to really like the NFL in that way. And he wants to, I actually do agree. I love that he wants to bring back the jacked up era of the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he'd be like a really great like Monday NFL countdown type of guy. Like he wouldn't even have to talk about the game. He would just kind of be like, "Oh, we should just
the era of the NFL the era of the NFL media that existed before we knew the extent at which we do now about CTE and how it affects people who play football." Because like that way, like every night they would just be like the highlights would be like, "You got jacked up," like someone just getting like full on just level, like someone driving their head into someone's stomach as hard as possible, and then like getting the equivalent of like being in a car accident at 40 miles an hour.
No, he's definitely part of that NFL crew that wishes that was back. You know what I mean? Like I think that you see that prevail more and more now. I kind of sound like him more and more, but I think you're seeing that kind of bring back within NFL fandom in a way where I guess you would say like after the Kaepernick thing, and then they needed a little bit of a fake PR. They went with this like end racism stuff in the end zone with George Floyd murder as well. But I think now you see with Trump, he's kind of bringing it all back, and it only took 4 years, right? Like,
yeah,
it was like one of the.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
One of the Chiefs players too, like, or a few of them. It was like Mahomes. I think it was like Chris Jones, and I think even Kelsey were just like, yeah, like it's fun to perform in front of the president.
Well, he loves going to the games. He loves. I think an underrated another aspect of like Trump as a sports figure and as a political figure that I think is very underrated, and something that I think like the Democrats don't understand is that he understands the power of crowds, and he understands crowds and like sports venues as kind of like a platform for a kind of mass politics. He loves his big rallies. He loves thousands of people coming out, and I think like. I think any political movement or party in this country would be full to discount just how much people like being in a big open area together, like sort of cheering for the same thing or being on the same side and rooting for someone or something and rooting against someone else.
Yeah, there's like there's like a camaraderie in it, if you will, for him, I think. It's like, trying to be one with the people, right? Like one with this whole like manosphere in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do we who in his administration has the most sport knowledge? Like, what is Trump's sports knowledge? Like, I think you could maybe make a case that he knew a little bit about the early 2000s Yankees,
yeah,
the Giuliani's Yankees.
Yeah. Man, it's hard to say. Personally, I think out of everyone in his administration that I can think of, Trump probably knows and cares the most about sports. Like, you can't tell me J.D. Vance is someone who really knows or cares about ball. Like, I mean, like, these are all like weirdos and dorks who like despise the bread and circuses. They're too
Yeah.
busy, finding new and exciting ways to be racist. And that's the other thing. If you are a white supremacist, like I believe many of the people surrounding Donald Trump are, like Nazis in this country have abandoned sports a long time ago because they just think it's a way to it's just race mixing. It's just like It's like white people cheering for non-white people and having them be their heroes, and sports has ceased to be an arena in which they feel that their values can be propagated or accepted.
Yeah, it's funny, but they I feel like they don't quite understand there's something within sports where you can forget about the actual shit you believe in and only focus on this sports shit. You know what I mean? And they don't really understand that. They think it's they kind of think it's race mixing, but actually in a way, you can kind of be really into sports and fuck with Antonio Brown and just also not fuck with black people. As an example,
Yeah, like the people who run his social media account. Perfect example of that.
Exactly. I also, speaking of, I love the faction of football player that is joining up with Team Trump. So it's Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. It's these are the black athletes that they can still get.
Yeah. Well, not the Philadelphia Eagles, apparently.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Although, we were just talking about, hey, our Reverend Wright did say, it's in the Bible, goddamn the Eagles.
It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, people.
Yeah, no, I mean, Trump and sports, to me, I can't see him really, being able to have a lot of knowledge, but I do think he's had so many times, so many experiences with athletes, an OJ or a Tiger, to the point where he kind of, can know some of the language that sporting people do use,
Well, I mean, for years he's been using sports memorabilia in lieu of payment to the people he's contracted to do work for him. I remember there was a story about him trying to get a lawyer to accept signed boxing gloves by Roy Jones Jr. in lieu of a legal fee.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Yeah, it's it's those type of things. Also, I've always wondered if Mariano Rivera and him were what's their relationship on the side, because Mo was a huge Nazi.
Great.
And so
I would imagine great. Mariano Rivera is one of those guys that obviously one of the greatest Yankees of all time. I love watching Mariano Rivera. When Sandman would come in the game, I was just yes, that's a W right there.
He was the greatest.
Is probably one of the most evil athletes that I've ever been proud to root for.
I know. I'm proud for both that Mo was a Yankee. I don't give a shit, but it's it's really funny. It's really funny just how insane he is politically. He's actually further right on Israel than anyone than you could even imagine. He's just a nut, man. Oh my god, he's just an absolute nut. There's this recent super Christian thing that's been happening in his church.
Yeah, a child abuse factory.
Yeah. It's been rough. But you really can't deny those saves though. You know what I mean?
He's coming out of the bullpen to shut down investigations into the abuse of children at his church.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I think what's interesting is you see aspects of him all over now in a way where I think in his first term, I think athletes were a little bit more uncomfortable talking about him. Besides LeBron, right? Besides any of these kind of neoliberal athletes, there were, I think, a lot of people very uncomfortable talking about him. Whereas now, I think people are starting to take from him, right? You get the Trump dance was in the NFL regular season quite a bit.
The Macho Man dance. I mean, it's a great dance. It's fun to do.
it's really, I know, it's YMCA. It's great.
Yeah. Macho Man, YMCA, he loves it, and you can like when you do the dance, you can imagine you're sucking off two guys at the same time.
You know what's been great too is some baseball players have been getting doubles or singles, and they'll do the fight thing for when he was like fake shot at or actually shot at.
Yeah. I think it was pretty much for real shot at. But,
no, definitely was. Yeah, no, it was definitely right. I like to joke about it being fake, but obviously, like he couldn't hold a secret.
Well, it wasn't real. I mean, not real enough.
Yeah. And that photo where like the bullet like had just missed was absolutely crazy. But I think I think what's interesting about the dance is how goofy it is, right? Like it is something that you can do and just be like super goofy with. Whereas I think remember the old NFL, like some of the celebrations were really elaborate from people. Like the Joe Horns and the TOs and
or
like Cinco,
or what's the name, like what Justin Jefferson does, the Vikings receivers, like they put on a whole production, which are often very creative and fun. I love seeing it.
Yeah, the things that Odell would do when the Giants, or for the Giants, like racistly traded him, because for whatever reason. Yeah, it was like kind of stuff like that when Odell had like some really interesting celebrations, and I remember Franceschi be like, "No,
no, that's Mike does not like that. He doesn't like that. No. He doesn't like when Brunson does like the 3 thing on his face either.
Oh, right, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't like that.
Right. I remember there was like when LeBron had beat the Warriors, and he was like spending time like kind of a little bit drunk during the parade. Mike was like, "That's embarrassing."
What, you can't get drunk after winning a championship? Come on, Mike.
I know, Mike. It's like Mike of all people should be like. I wonder how, but one of the things is like, I remember I saw you tweeting. We're gonna switch gears a little bit shortly. Like I saw you tweeting about Luka.
Oh yeah. I'm outraged about this, by the way.
I'm outraged. I'm outraged. They're treating Luka like he's supposed to be just like this like machine, like this. They're tweeting about Luka like he's like running for president and he's supposed to be this like.
I know it'd be one thing if he if he stunk, but eating cake and smoking cigs and drinking beers. Luka averaged 30 points a game in the playoffs and took the Mavs to the finals last year. So my idea, he's an adult. Whatever he's doing works, and I just don't think that they can handle Balkan excellence. Like you're gonna tell guys from the Balkans that they can't have a cig or a beer every now and again. No, it makes them better.
Yeah,
this is like this psycho American. This is like the American. We're polluted by this insane work ethic, where every aspect of your life has to be dedicated to your job, and the Mavs, they pay Luka all this money. Like if you were injured all the time and his weight was a problem for him on the court, then you might imagine that they'd have some something to say about it. But this is clearly them. I sincerely think that the sale of the Mavericks by Mark Cuban to Miriam Adelson, I think she is actively trying to tank the team Major League style. So
Nico's a sleeper agent.
Because you have to ask yourself if you were an owner of a sports team, and then if your goal was consciously to destroy your team's future and alienate every one of your fans in the city the team is in, what would they have done differently than what they've done in since trading Luka?
Yeah, it's they've been. It's been like Team Titanic. Like Luka got traded, then Kyrie got hurt, and then now all the other players are getting hurt. It kind of feels like a psyop in a way.
And Anthony Davis is hurt too.
Yeah.
They got nobody. It's
horrible. People are saying fire Nico. No one's thought about Nico as a sleeper agent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What if Nico? Yeah. No. What if Nico is an agent for Miriam?
Oh, there you go.
My favorite thing has been seeing Kobe be attached to the trade because Nico used to be an executive for Nike and Kobe's guy.
Seems he's more a sleeper agent for the Lakers than Adelson. Yeah.
What if? Yeah. No. I've been joking about Lakers exceptionalism, Lakers supremacy, the Lakers as the Soviet Union or something. I actually wish. Maybe not Lakers. Maybe honestly, just Lakers as the American empire, where it's they just can't lose.
Well, I mean, LeBron just pulled his groin, so we'll see. But I gotta say, you know, like you know, like they're not the Celtics. Like I don't root for the Lakers, but like I
Yeah.
think it's unquestionable that like the NBA is better when the Lakers and Celtics are good. I mean, obviously, I want nothing good to happen to Boston, but I'm just saying like. When it was Luka and LeBron, like I'm excited to watch those games, and I'm excited to see like a Lakers Warriors matchup in the playoffs this year will be really fun.
I know that'd be crazy. Draymond is nuts, bro. Draymond is crazy.
I was thinking about Draymond the other day because of like that shit he said about Cat, where like Cat took a game off because a very close family friend died apparently, and he was like, yeah, like Cat took the game off because he didn't want to play the Warriors. He's afraid of us. And then someone was like, it was because a close family friend died, and he was like, well. And the thing about Draymond is that like if I were a Warriors fan, I would probably love Draymond Green for how evil he is. But like the fact is that I'm not a Warriors fan, so all I'm left with is like what he says and does. And like that guy is a demon.
He's an absolute insane person, man. He's the type of person who saw like how much his follower points or how much his like hits on his podcast went up after he was being a heel, and he was like, I'm just gonna continue being a heel.
No, he plays the heel great, but if it wasn't for Steph Curry, like he would have the most also ran career of all time. He would be like a you know, a reliable workhorse fucking like, you know, player in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's obviously like really great on defense, but like no one cares about defense unless you have like other great offensive players around you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like I said, like he'd be the kind of guy I'd be thrilled to have on my team if he was like the kind of guy who will like do anything to win and do like no matter how dirty or like nitty gritty like or just you know, like psychological warfare, like, but you know he's not on my team, so I can't fucking stand him.
No, he's like, yeah, he's literally exactly the type of person that if you, I've always wondered like Draymond in politics, like I was thinking about that like last week, like what would Draymond in politics look like?
Let's find out.
Let's find out. I know. Let's find out. Let's get Draymond on like a caucus in the Democratic caucus or something.
Can't be
Draymond
much
could
worse
win
than
it.
what they've got now.
I know Draymond could win
You know
an
what? I think
election.
honestly, like, if you were interested in politics and he is a Democrat, like that's the kind of mentality that the Democrats need right now.
Yeah,
They need Draymond.
They need Draymond. Yeah, they need Draymond. If Draymond was in the Capitol on January 6th, it happened, I think Draymond would have taken it in stride.
I think he would have taken the Capitol.
Yeah, I think he would have taken the Capitol. Yeah. No, Draymond is like that. Yeah, it is truly one of the funniest things. Is like kind of talking about him and exactly who he thinks he like. I remember he was talking about like the Draymond Green and Baron Davis show must go on. You know what I mean? It's like that's like a threat. Like, oh man, it was great. He's like, I mean, it's the type of heel that I think a lot of people like forget that the NBA can create. Like, they can create heels like that. I think people have.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's good for the league. It's good for basketball. And I don't know. As long as we're talking about basketball, I guess like the thing I've been thinking about is like there's been a lot of talk about how the NBA is suffering and like I guess the ratings are down. And like there's just a lot of people that are just like not happy with the NBA or like they're like. But like I don't know, like Jason, when I hear these complaints, they all just seem very contradictory to me. Because then they're like, oh, like, like it's just like they're like, oh, nobody plays defense anymore, and then when people do, they don't like it.
Yeah,
and, like like it just seems like I think it's just become a stand. Look, like they've hurt themselves because like the first half of the NBA season has gotten so devalued that like everybody understands that it like really it doesn't matter, and then there's like the load management and I think that is a problem for the league. But like when you look at like the quality of players that are in the league now and like the quality of basketball, I'm just like, what do people even want? Like, what do you want out of this sport here? Because like when I watch the games and the people who play them, I'm like, damn, like this is good to me. Like it seems like there's a lot of really good teams and really great players in the league right now.
There's a lot of skill, right? Like I was watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the other day from the Thunder, like against Jokic, and I was like, yo, this guy's like fucking nasty. Like this guy has like he's silky smooth. I mean, he's got like an array of different moves that he can do. He's got that nice jumper. Like, yeah, sure, he gets fouled a lot, and like that's part of his game. But like, there's a skill in that. Like, the skill is unbelievable in the game right now. Like, think about watching Brunson every single day. Like, Brunson's the best player I've seen in my lifetime as a Knicks fan.
And everyone's like,
what I mean?
oh, like he's just a foul merchant, and I'm like, that's part of the fucking game. Like, you play against these guys when you're under 7 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's like, he makes guys stop too early. Like, that's a skill, and so is hitting free throws.
Also,
all
to
these
be
like
honest,
sanctity of the game people, like, well, come on, where are you on those?
yeah, I mean, also to be honest, like that guy is like nailing threes from distance.
Yeah,
like these, like for all of those, like, oh, he's a foul merchant thing. They're not those people aren't really watching the actual game because those guys are fucking like nailing threes from deep, late in the game, late in the shot clock. I wonder how much of the NBA is the simple fact that people just don't want to root for these like rich black men.
I mean that's part of it.
That's got to be
part
just
of it, but like half of them are rich fucking Serbian guys.
I know. That's true.
Like,
that's true. We're not in the Iverson days where it was. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I think it's because like the NBA is a players' league. Like players in the NBA have a lot of power. Like they can basically dictate terms to their coaches and teams if you're a superstar, and like because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of job security too. Because it's just there is less injury in the NBA than certainly football, and like their contracts are such that like I think they just have a lot of power. So like if you're playing 80 plus games a season, they have the power to kind of maybe not play as hard when it doesn't count. And like the thing is like I don't know, like if your contract is based on you winning, like it just seems like the fact that it is like still in popular consciousness, the NBA and basketball as a sport is still overwhelmingly associated with like black people in America, and like it's a sport like it's considered like blacker than the other professional sports for some reason, even though the NFL is like 70% black.
You can also see their faces in the way.
You can see. Yeah, you know exactly. What I mean? Because they're able to like form more of a personality and have like more of a direct relationship with fans. Whereas like in the NFL, even though it's like a 70% black guys playing in that league, it's just like it's the Shield, it's the NFL. Yeah. It's like they got the fucking they got the helmets on. You can't really see their faces. So it's like unless you're like like a top player, most people, even casual fans, don't really know your name. So it's hard not to think about like complaints about the NBA and how it's soft or how like the stars are spoiled, which is like like certainly not an accusation completely without merit, but like I think it's back to the old thing. It's like it's like all the people who are fucking mad at LeBron, like all the people like who just will state openly that they don't think LeBron is a good player. And it's just like this is not an art. If you're making that argument, you're not talking about basketball. You're talking about something else.
Yeah, I saw a guy obviously who cares about these people? Like they don't represent. I think I feel like they don't represent the majority in a way. But like I saw someone just like these type of like Elon bots, like right wing kind of like accounts that were saying that LeBron isn't even top 5 or top 10, and I was like, okay, you guys are just like
that's just absurd. I mean, that's just
it's just absurd. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's
you eject yourself from serious consideration,
right?
If you want to say that Jordan is the greatest of all time, that's fine. But like it's him and LeBron are like that's the conversation there.
Yeah.
And anything short of that is just like you're lying to yourself. I mean, it's just putting up a facade.
There was like his highlights. I saw like a highlight package that was like floating on the timeline of him in his first Cavaliers stint and then him in Miami. That athleticism he had is like I never saw anything like that shit.
I saw a stat that someone put up the other day where it was comparing like LeBron's yearly statistics to JJ Redick's career from college to coaching LeBron at the Lakers, and over all of them, it's basically the same the entire way down. Like for the 13 years that JJ Redick was in the NBA, for like the couple of years he was in college, to the couple of years he was a TV analyst, and now to coaching the fucking Lakers, LeBron's career stats are like the same all the way down.
Yeah, it's
like all he's done has been like the best basketball player in the world for 20 years now.
For 20 years,
and
bro.
Like, what more do people want from him?
He's like people. I think they sound like incels. Like granted, like I'm not always a fan of his. I think I've like spoken with you about this like personally, like when we were just like hanging out. Like I think there's some stuff he does where I can kind of feel the like, okay, we're doing this so we can like have a good publicity photo, and like you wanna have like your son in the league. But I do think like he handles things officiously a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like we were talking about, like the example of this recently is him getting mad at Stephen A. Smith, and like getting in his face at the Lakers game over like.
I love the fact that it was like during a timeout. By the way, I thought that was
and it was also funny because Larry David was sitting right next to Stephen A. Smith, so there's like something out of Curb Your Enthusiasm. But like, this is an example of where like. Yeah, that kind of, I don't know, officiousness, I think rubs people the wrong way, because it's just like everybody knew going into this season that like LeBron was like, if a team wants to sign me or the Lakers want to re-sign me, I'm going to make very clear that like you're drafting my son as part of that deal. Everyone knew that, so like he was the one who made his son an issue. And his son is now a professional basketball player. So, like, I would say it's within the purview of the Stephen A. Smiths of the world to render a judgment on that or make a comment about that. Look, I mean, like, if he's referring to something they said about him that was, like, outside the realm of basketball, that would be one thing. But you can't just, like, demand that your son be an NBA player and then, like, get mad at people for talking about it or be criticizing him.
Yeah, no, it does kind of give, like, okay, you want to have it both ways. In a way, like I do understand that you put a target. I think he does have a target on his back, regardless. Speaking of Bronny, because like LeBron is his dad, but also like
I wouldn't want to be him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be. But some of it also was literally like I remember LeBron tweeted. I was on Twitter that night when LeBron tweeted like, "My son is better than half these dudes in the league right now."
Well, okay, yeah.
And everyone was like, "Whoa!" Like, but I mean, but it's funny. Like Stephen A. Like I have I think Stephen A. is a genius. I think we both have a lot of respect for Stephen A. as just like a orator, like just like an oration talent. Like the guy's.
And I don't say that. I don't say this as an insult. As a TV blowhard, he is one of the greatest. He's one of the best.
He's one of the greatest ever. Like it's. I think he legit. You can make a legitimate case like he literally changed the game in media in a lot of ways because he started getting attention as if he was a player. Like sometimes they'll film him coming out of the on like NBA Countdown, and I'm like, I'm all for it, low key. I'm kind of all for it. Like I do think he takes a tenor of his own. Like a tenor of like fame of his own. Like he's an institution onto himself, and so I do understand why a player might want to kind of check him. I personally thought it was funny. Like I thought it was all good. Like I'm not mad at LeBron, nor am I mad at Stephen A. I saw some people being like, "Oh, Stephen A. should have like really came at Braun more," but I think say he does
challenge
that
him to a game of horse.
but say he like challenges LeBron to a fight or something, people would have been mad about that.
Be pretty tough fight for Stephen A. fighting LeBron with his reach and whatnot.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought it was funny to see LeBron kind of have a moment where he like didn't feel like he was in control. Like LeBron's all about kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, how could you not be? Like I said, like to be. I mean, like you got to be a pretty in control guy to be like 40 and fucking playing any professional sport at the level he is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, you got it. I mean, you got to be you got to be nuts. You know what I mean? Like for all of like Jordan's insanity, which was like real insanity, I think you can make like LeBron's got to be crazy too.
I mean, like that's the thing. There's no way you can be that good at any sport and not kind of be slightly insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, or just even to be a professional athlete, like of middling talent, to be that good to play at a professional level, you have to have kind of like a psychotic and unnatural competitiveness and desire to win and prove yourself constantly. Because otherwise, like, how would you even get that far without like some insane, irrational level of confidence in your ability, and like I said, a psychotic need to compete against other people and win constantly.
Yeah, I think LeBron has the same thing that Jordan has. I think he might feel less comfortable being exuberant about it in a way like Jordan feels like so comfortable with the fact that he's a psychopath. Like
Yeah, Jordan, he really is. Like,
yeah,
he really is, and he didn't hide it ever.
Yeah, ever. Like Jordan feels like comfortable, whereas I feel like LeBron's more like Magic Johnson, where like LeBron and Magic are both psychos, but I feel like they might not always be comfortable with the fact that they are like that. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like they want.
They're aware of like the human algorithm that they have to run from time to time to be on television or appear relatable.
Yeah, but if you like look at The Last Dance, it felt to me like I was. Yeah. I felt like to me like I was watching like a crazy person, like a legitimately like psychotic guy.
Or or just the people who played with him, who would be like, yeah, he would bet like $100,000 on like if an ant would walk up a wall faster than another one.
Yeah, he would. If he would race me to the parking lot to our cars.
Yeah. No, like that's what I mean. It's like Jordan, like it wasn't just on the court. Like he made every single second of his day a competition or gambling on some outcome that he had to win.
Have you read the Jordan Rules book? I think you would love it.
No, I haven't.
It's like, yeah, I think you would really love it. It like follows the Bulls from like 1 year. I think it's the first championship year. And they said that like when Horace Grant and Pippen had their kids, Jordan, Horace, and Pippen compared which baby's dick was bigger.
It's an infant. I mean, like...
dude, when I read that shit, I was like, I fucking love this. I thought it was unbelievable. I was like, I love this. I want my athletes like that, man. You know, I think the era of like, they're just like us.
Really?
There's no other way, man. I want my athletes like that, man. I want them like crazy, you know? Yeah. There is a report that recently came out that Rodgers is deciding between the Giants and the Steelers. Now, I'm a Steeler fan. You are a Giants fan. Mm-hmm. What do we think of this? I
mean, my honest take is that like there is not a single quarterback that the Giants can get that is better than Aaron Rodgers right now. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a disaster, but he's also one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't know if he's that anymore, but if you watched him on the Jets last year, look, he's locker room poison. But the thing is, he still threw for 28 touchdowns. Like who is coming through the Giants locker room that's going to come sniff even close to that? And if you watch him play for the Jets, his receivers had a lot of drops for him last year as well. So I think Aaron Rodgers, my take on the Giants this year is that they need a bridge quarterback. They need some veteran crash test dummy to get in there and maybe win a couple games. But if they draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders and just put him in there behind that offensive line, they're going to ruin their career.
I would love Shedeur in New York. It'll never happen.
That would be Aaron Rodgers and Shedeur in New York would be like Any Given Sunday. That would be awesome.
Willie Beeman, I know. It'd be like Willie Beeman and Dennis Quaid. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I will say, Del Bowl does not seem like a Coach Tony DeMonte.
No, not at all, not at all. But yeah, who else is out there for the Giants, right? I think Rodgers would be perfect for the Giants, but I think he'd be good for the Steelers too.
I know. Rodgers and Tomlin would be it'd be must-watch television.
That might be good for him because the Steelers are not a team that you can come into and put your brand on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, So I don't know if I ever told you how I became a Steelers fan, but my father took me to the 2001 AFC Championship game because he had stuff that he would do in Pittsburgh. And so he took me to one of the games, and I just liked the black and yellow, you know. And at the time they had Slash as their quarterback. They had Cordell Stewart, and I remember I was
nice,
I'm in, But it was what's the chatter around Tomlin in Pittsburgh right now? It's either the most racist shit, or you have the people who are he's like Obama.
That's how you know the tenor of Pittsburgh. It's he won a Super Bowl for the Steelers, and then they're like, oh, it was Cowher's team. Fuck him.
Yeah, he's it's funny. It's he's kind of he has that He's got that classic thing where it's you're a person of color in a powerful position, where it's you have one side that I think lashes onto a little bit too much in terms of like identity politics, if you will, or in terms of just like giving you too much of a break, and you have that one side that's like thinks that you're like a DEI hire. Like it was like that's like what it is with Tomlin a lot, where it's like one side of things thinks it's like he got the job because he's black, and the other side is just like Tomlin can do no wrong. And it's like I'm more like a little bit in the middle, where like I don't know, like the past 3 years he's not.
The Steelers are tough because like with Tomlin, it's like they've never had a losing season
ever,
and they're always there, but they're not good. Like they're this like kind of holding pattern where they like get into the playoffs, but they don't win a playoff game. And it's like it's held down because like the Steelers' defense is always so fucking good.
Yeah.
But then like it's just like like who can they score a touchdown when it matters?
Yeah. I mean, look, T.J. Watt is the king of white people, like in my opinion. Like, he's like, you know what I mean? Like he's just like the king of white America, and so the great white hope in a lot of ways. And so like you have like. We just haven't had a quarterback in 5 years. I think that's part of it. But I also think they haven't evaluated the quarterback position well. You know? So I wonder what, like, Rodgers... I mean, look...
I mean, I don't know. Like, going from, like, Russell Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, like, might be, like, a slight upgrade for the Steelers.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be an upgrade for the Giants. But, like, I mean, like, I'm not optimistic. I just think, like... Out of the quarterbacks that the Giants could potentially sign right now, like I would have been happy with. I would be happy with Russell Wilson on the Giants. I'd be happy with Kirk Cousins on the Giants.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers is better than those two, so I'll take it.
No, Kirk Cousins with the Giants. That'd be wow. The New York media would just eat it alive.
Yeah,
they would eat him alive.
Here.
They would eat him alive, man. Oh my god. No, I mean it's really funny to see Rodgers become who he's become over the past 5 years. Have you ever like watched any of his episodes on Rogan or any of those like McAfee bullshit interviews he does?
He's really like not charismatic to me. Like there's something. I mean, once again, like talk about like to be that good, something has to be a little off.
Yeah.
But like, there's just something so humorless about Rodgers that like it just really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. That's true. You know, if he was funny, I think like you know we love. For example, you and I, we love Tom Cruise. We're Tom Cruise stans.
Yeah.
Stans. And so like, look, Scientology not great, but Cruise is so funny, so charismatic, so unbelievable at what he does. That I wonder, like, you know, if Rodgers had that same type of charisma and humor, if people would just kind of be like, oh, whatever, it's just Aaron. But he like he's like a dull guy, you know. He's like
or like compare him to like like Patrick Mahomes, who like isn't exactly like Mr. Personality, but it's hard for me to like really imagine like hating Patrick Mahomes because he just seems like such a genial oaf, basically. I mean, not an oaf. I wouldn't say an oaf, but like he just seems like like I don't know. Like there's not there's a malice in Rodgers that's palpable, and I don't really know where it comes from.
No, there's like a darkness in him. You don't remember the weird thing with like he doesn't fuck with his family.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's cut off his whole family. I mean, maybe they're assholes. I mean, shit, I don't know. I didn't grow up with them.
I know. Yeah, maybe they don't. Maybe that's true. Maybe they're dickheads. You know, we never know, right? Like,
but I mean, he is really. I mean, he's like one of the best quarterbacks who have ever played football.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you can't take that away from him. And like the thing is, like, even his disastrous stint on the Jets, like that, like you can't really like. Yeah, it's a mark against him, I guess, if like that's the way he goes out. But like, you can't really diminish his career at this point. Like, he diminished the Jets, but like, I don't think the Jets like.
What's
really,
crazy
like,
is he's the greatest Jets quarterback since Joe Namath, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's the greatest Jets quarterback ever, bro.
Yeah.
Since they couldn't even televise the games, like.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's just crazy. Like I was always wondering too, like is RFK into sports? Like did Rodgers get RFK into sports?
I think RFK is only into the sports that include animals. I think he loves horse racing because there's a lot of animal death in that sport, and lots of organs and meat that he can harvest for later.
Yeah, no,
after
absolutely.
Secretariat breaks a leg or something.
American Pharaoh, American Pharaoh like hurts his hoof or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like he hangs out. He hangs out at like the Preakness or whatever with like a big handkerchief tied around his neck and a fork and knife in each hand, licking his lips, smacking his lips theatrically.
Yeah, no. I mean, Raj, like, it's funny that he's latched onto RFK, of all people. Like, he doesn't have the personality to be a full Trump guy. He has to be like an RFK guy.
Yeah, he has to be like, because like, yeah, he has like esoteric, weird politics and beliefs, which, seem to like largely center around vaccines and like. Yeah. And like, like the thing with Rodgers and the whole vaccine thing, like, I mean, like that's a reason a lot of people like him, and a lot of people don't like him as well, because it's just sort of, people don't like when athletes step out of their lane, and if you agree with the athlete that's stepping out of their lane, you love it, but most other people will hate it.
Right.
So I mean, like, like I think Aaron Rodgers' interventions in politics are. Almost a byproduct of CTE at this point, but like if you believe in what he espouses, then of course you love it, because for the most part athletes don't stray out of their lane, and like we sort of demand that they don't do that, save for if you agree with them. Right. But the thing is, like, most people are always going to disagree.
Yeah, most people are always going to disagree. Also, like, for the most part, they aren't as well versed in him as you would be or I would be, right? So it's kind of just like, it's almost like I remember during 2020 when LeBron was like butting in the strike, and I was just like, okay, like I know like LeBron like really likes to dabble in it, but like he's like, just be a philanthropist, right? Like I think he tried to lead in terms of like a political way, and it kind of went by the wayside, right? Like the strike kind of went by the wayside. Yeah, it's you for the most part, you like don't want these guys talking about politics.
And like the thing with Rodgers and like the vaccine thing, it'd be one thing if like this were just his like personal belief, because like look, there have been a lot of really like A-list athletes who have been very anti-vaccine, and I can see why. It goes back to this like level of control, and you have to have to play any sport at that level, in terms of like the level of control you have over your body and like what you put into it and don't put into it. Like, yeah, it's an unbelievable level of dedication that like far surpasses what the average human being considers or is capable of. So like, yeah, like there's a lot of like really top athletes who either resisted getting the vaccine or made a big fuss about it, because like, yeah, they control every aspect of their body with trainers and like a fucking like a daily regimen, like like Terminator level shit. And then to have the government come along and be like, "Oh, you have to get the shot because everyone else is," like they don't think they're everyone else.
Yeah,
they think that's for people who don't take care of their bodies the way that they do. So like I'm not saying I agree with it, but like look, I understand the stand being taken where it's coming from. But like the way Rodgers like attacks other people for getting the vaccination is just, I think I find distasteful.
Yeah, I find it really distasteful too. Speaking of what people did to their bodies, like the steroid era in baseball.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I thought Barry Bonds was absolutely the man.
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely.
And so should most of the other like.
I've been trying to get Clemens. I wanted to get Rocket on this on this podcast. I emailed RogerClemensMedia@gmail.com.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. No, I would love to get Rocket. I think Rocket was the man. Like I was a Clemens fucking guy. Like it was like the peak George Steinbrenner mercenary era where we were just signing everybody.
Yeah. Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson.
Yeah. Robert Ventura. Yeah, you're a Yankee. All these guys, right? Like, I always felt like the steroid era was the greatest thing.
I mean, like, I look at the, I like baseball more when like it isn't like the huge ridiculous like giant foreheads and everyone hitting like like the Sosa McGuire thing, like that was exciting, but like I view the steroid era and the way in which like baseball writers and the sports media like continue to hold it over someone like Barry Bonds is like I view it a little bit like what the like political media like the way like their attitude about Joe Biden and his senility, where it's like once it becomes too obvious for anyone to deny, they're like, how were we lied to? This is a disgrace. But like you all saw what was going on right in front of your eyes and said nothing about it at the time because it was good for the game and it got people excited. And like obviously they were all on steroids. But then like when something is confirmed that you all knew and shut up about or didn't pull that thread, then you have to punish like you have to like make someone like Barry Bonds into like like an avatar of everything that's evil and wrong because you were just as complicit in it.
Yeah. I remember McGuire had like a bottle, like a bottle of like Android in his locker room in 98. Yeah. And like one of the things Bonds was saying was he was just like, if this white boy can do this
and
shit.
Barry
Imagine what I
Bonds
can do.
was already going to the Hall of Fame on roller
He was
skates
already like one of the greatest
before
players
he
ever.
started using steroids. Like he was already one of the greatest baseball players who've ever lived. Before he had like 70 home runs in his season.
He was a great base
his
stealer.
forehead, when his forehead got enormous. Because I mean that's the thing. When you can't just say guys are like hitting the gym hard when their skull seems to get bigger. Like we all know what's going on here.
Their foot sizes were getting bigger and shit too, dude. I remember like I thought I heard this might not be. I might be doing some fake news shit right now, but I had heard that he had actually had to get a separate drug to calm down his testicles. Pause. So pause. But like he had to kind of like. Because it was shrinking too much.
Well, they say that's what happens.
That's what happens. Yeah. Oh man, no. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. A quote recently from our mayor. Will and I are both New Yorkers, born and raised, bred New Yorkers. Although, actually, lies. You were like born in Atlanta, weren't you?
Yeah, but I spent like 6 minutes of my life there.
Yeah.
I was not born in New York City, but I've really lived here the last 41 years of my life.
No. You're a born and bred New Yorker.
I'll never be a Braves fan. I can assure you that.
Yeah. Or nor Falcons. Although I do love Michael Vick. I was actually talking about.
Talk about
Vic.
another guy that was
Felix and I were talking about Vic online.
Unfairly persecuted, but I'll just say, I think Michael Vick. Like I think it's time that we forgive him.
Look, people don't want to hear this. They do not want to hear this. But dogfighting in the South, is an actual thing. Now, I'm not saying
I don't respect that. Or like, I don't think that's a valuable culture we need to preserve.
Exactly. It's not
but
appropriate.
In this country, it's like Gordon Gekko said. Thing about wasps, they love animals, hate people. And like that's the truth of it. In America,
you need a friend. You need a friend. Get a dog.
Yeah, we are a pet-centered culture in America to a way that is like that outpaces any other country in the world. The relationship Americans have with their pets and with dogs, especially.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think dogfighting should be illegal, and nor do I think it's like a valuable culture that is worth preserving. Animal blood sport, no matter what part of the region the country it comes from. But like, let's dial it back just a little bit in a country where like we kill like 8 billion cows a day to eat burger from. You know what I mean? Like
let's
one of Catherine and I's favorite shows is Vanderpump Rules.
Oh wow,
And on that show, Lisa Vanderpump annually holds this like big charity event about like some dog meat festival in China where like they just like it's like they slaughter dogs and eat them for food. And it's just like, okay, like, I'm not eating dogs, nor would I endorse that happening in downtown Los Angeles. And if it was, Lisa Vanderpump, by all means, raise money to stop something like that from happening. But, like, come on. Like, you got more sympathy for, like, a dog in China than you do with, like, a homeless person in Los Angeles. Like, it's just, like, sometimes I think, like, especially when it comes from very rich people, this, like, the fixation on animals and like, in a world, in a country where we, like, have no regard whatsoever for the lives of like anything. It seems a little hypocritical to me. That's all.
No, people lashed onto it because they were already waiting for a way to hate Vic.
Yeah.
he's lazy. He's only running the football. Like there was.
Oh, he's lazy, but he's really like faster than anyone who's ever played in the NFL. Okay.
There was always a lot of coded language surrounding Vic, and I think they used this to kind of like.
Do you think that same coded language is being used around Lamar Jackson now?
Yeah, absolutely. I was at a bar on the Upper West Side, which I would love to go with you one day. The sports bar on the Upper West Side.
Back to the old stomping grounds.
Back to the old stomping grounds. Yeah, no, we were watching the AFC title game with a friend, and this second white guy was just like, "See, I told you, Lamar's not a real quarterback. He'll never win." And I was just like, "Dude, he just like won the MVP." Like, what are you talking about? No, people are
gotta be like a statue in that pocket.
Gotta throw it deep, Jeff George. Yeah, it's Peyton Manning is always white America's favorite quarterback. But
he was pretty great.
He was great.
I love both of the Mannings. They're wonderful.
I know, but I know Peyton, like Eli. I'm not sure he's a Hall of Famer. Seriously,
he is a Hall of Famer, easy. Not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but like, how many quarterbacks have won 2 Super Bowls who against the best quarterback of their era, no less, that aren't in the Hall of Fame?
I know, but he's never won anything. He's never won a playoff game other than those 2 runs.
Yeah, but like those 2 runs, look who he beat.
I know.
He beat Favre and Rodgers and Lambeau.
The
49ers and the Cowboys and the Bucs.
That throw to Manningham in the second Super Bowl is the greatest throw I've ever seen in my life.
All Eli Manning has in his career are merely 2 of the most legendary Super Bowl runs of all time.
Yeah,
so, to me, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's in the Hall of Fame easy, and it's not even a question.
Another New Yorker that we both know has been much maligned in the press. Including from you, by the way, the press. He recently said, if I'm not, let me find this tweet. I almost bookmarked it, but I didn't. Let me find this tweet. He said, where is it? Okay. What I'm finding surprising is the level of support you're all displaying for Mahabub Khalil, but I didn't see that support for me.
Thank you. That's New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and I mean, like, that's one of the most, like, I don't know, offensive and repellent things I could imagine a New York City mayor saying.
Yeah.
When he was saying, I didn't see that level of support for me. You were indicted. We all saw the evidence in the unsealed indictment of all of your text messages being like, I want to fly extra first class to Turkey. And like the $10 million in matching funds that you pilfered from city coffers, Eric. And the thing is, you received due process that like didn't even get a chance to be finished because like Trump told the Justice Department that you were get out of jail free. So like to say that I didn't receive the same support, well, it's like, okay, shithead, you're the most cartoonishly corrupt city mayor in like the country, which is really saying something. So yeah, it's not a shock that people support someone who's being deported for an act of political protest and conscience, rather than someone that was just like doing like penny ante shakedowns and just like looting public money for your own benefit and just ludicrous corruption. But yeah, no, fuck Eric Adams. Yeah, let's talk about someone who does deserve to be crucified.
Yeah, I mean, really totally fuck that guy. Because you know what's funny is, like, remember when he first got elected, I remember, like, I would joke about him as I would joke about him a lot, but what I realized about him is how vapid he is. Like, he's an actual, like, narcissist.
He has an airhead. He has nothing
he's
going
really
on
empty. He's very empty. I guess I didn't know him well, and I thought what we were getting like a cool Al Sharpton type of like mayor. But actually, we were but I thought we were getting like a cool guy, like like one of those kind of like he's a little bit corrupt, but he's like at least give money to the hood or some shit. You know what I mean? Like a little like a Marion Barry. I thought we were getting like a Marion Barry. Yeah. Crack smoking, but he's all right. You know what I mean? Like, but instead,
Marion Barry got reelected after that shit. Eric wasn't sniffing in a public office in New York ever again.
But instead, we got like a technocrat, like cop, like Silicon Valley, technocrat fascist guy. Like and like instead we just got like a Republican who like is in Democrat robes. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. Like I guess I didn't know anything about him, so I had thought like I was like, kind of like joking about it, but then it's you see it now. It's like he's a legit psychopath.
Yeah, he's empty. He is an empty shell.
He's just like an empty guy. Yeah.
And more importantly, a disgrace to the great city of New York.
Disgrace to the great city of New York. That is absolutely right.
It's shameful.
That is
what
absolutely
he's done to
right.
The city.
I know he is really a disgrace to the city of New York. This city works so well if you have people who actually care about the people. Like, it's not about. I always tell people it's not about the. It's not about like the what they say it's about. Like it's not about the. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, or like we're the city that never sleeps. It's about the people in it. It was always about the people in it. It was always about you and I. And instead now it became about like Kith and like New York or nowhere, and about all these things where it's like it became about what the cliches were. And instead, those used to be just cliches, and it used to be about you and I. But now, what they decided to do is they decided to make it about the cliches.
It's like it's the blank strongification of every place in America, where it's just like it's a brand. And like to me, what New York City is about is not about like what we advertise to the rest of the country or world. Then if the rest of the country hates New York anyway, and I say I welcome their hatred. To me, New York City, it's about, like you said, it's about the people. And New York City, to me, is like an ongoing project in like the uneasy but lasting détente between 10 million human beings who all hate each other and the city they live in, but somehow keep going, like somehow it works. That's the love. That's the love that we all feel and share about New York City. Exactly.
It's the do the right thing type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 25th hour is probably a better example.
Cue the mirror monologue.
Right, I know. Cue the Uptown Brothers don't pass the ball. Like, that's what we love. You know what I mean? Like it's not about the brandification of it all. And I think he's actively like a part of the contribution to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This was really fun, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. This was great. Let's end off on a movie touch. Did you have any Oscar takes? Like, what was your Anora take? Like, did you have a take on that movie, the Oscars, or?
My take on Anora was it's good. Like I thought the central joke and conceit of the movie were a little thin by the third act. But that being said, I'm fine with it winning Best Picture. I thought it was a good movie. My hot takes on the Oscars this year that people are still furious about me for is I thought The Substance and The Brutalist both sucked.
They're bad. The Brutalist is awful to me.
The Brutalist is not a good movie. It's stupid. It's a millennial Mickey Mouse filmmaking is how I would describe that movie.
It's not a good movie. It's a fake deep movie. It's fake deep. It's I think Felicity Jones is bad, legitimately.
Yeah.
I think Guy Pearce and Joe Alwyn are good. I don't even love Brody. I would have given it to Chalamet personally.
I would have too. Fuck Adrian Brody.
Yeah, like I thought Chalamet was great as Bob Dylan.
and also in no universe are either of them a better actor than Ralph Fiennes is. Who also has never won an Oscar, and now fucking Adrian Brody has two. Look, Adrian Brody's fine. I loved him as Pat Riley on Winning Time.
I did. Me too. Me too.
To me, that was the best Adrian Brody role in years. But
yeah.
I just was not a fan of The Substance or The Brutalist, which I thought were two symptoms of the same problem of just referencing other better movies but not really have anything to say.
Yeah. It was not a good year for movies. I'm interested in seeing what. Not. Yeah,
I honestly my favorite of the Oscar-nominated movies was A Complete Unknown.
Me
that
too.
being said, I still have yet to see I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys, which people both assure me are the two best movies.
Yeah,
by far this
I
year.
haven't seen I'm Still Here. I would be very curious to see what you think of Nickel Boys. I I'm curious. Let me know when you see
it.
it.
It's in the queue, so
Yeah.
We'll
Let me know when.
once I check it out.
Yeah. Let me know when you see it. I liked it, but but yeah, let me know. I look. Hopefully, like next year will be a better year for movies. Hopefully, like I don't. We'll see. But
well, it's all we have to live for. So
I know.
That and New York sports teams winning, which honestly right now is not. I don't know. The Yankees, bro. We didn't get to talk about what's going on with the Yankees right now.
I know. But yo, by the way, I want to say, fuck that beer. They should have kept that shit. One.
Yes.
Two, they should have kept that shit.
Yes.
Secondly,
Jason,
it shows you.
I gotta say this.
Yeah, go.
As a prominent facial-haired American, like you think I would be in favor of the Yankees, loosening their stringent no facial hair except for mustache standards. No. The Yankees are not for slobs like me. The Yankees are for the police department. Yankees players should look like cops.
The Yankees are for Derek Jeter. It's like they should look like like Derek Jeter, or they should look like Brett Gardner. You know what I mean?
You know what though? I can kind of understand it though, because like in a world now where the Yankees are like no longer like can spend the most, they're the evil empire. Now you got the Mets in Queens and the Dodgers out west.
We're a mom and pop team compared to these guys.
Yeah. So like to attract the best of the best talent. I'm sorry, like I don't know if you can tell like the best Latino ball players that they can't have facial hair.
I know.
I think if that comes down to like whether you're going to play for the Yankees or not, I don't know.
But you saw like when we did the rule, everyone started making fun of us, and I was like, you know what? That's an example. That's like an example on life and how it works. Like you bend for these people, and then they make fun of you. It's just like you might as well just be you. You know what I mean? We should have just kept the rule, man. Like,
and it was like one of those unique things about the Yankees.
Yeah,
man, it's kind of even though it was sort of like asshole-ish and reactionary.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is the pinstripes, like this is no names on the jersey,
This was like
the pride of the Yankees.
Exactly.
Everyone has to look like a cop.
I will never forget when we signed Johnny Damon and he just like
yeah,
you know what I mean? That shit was like, it was like, you're a Yankee now,
Yeah.
Like, oh man. This was great, brother.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you do this? How do you stop this recording? Do you see it? Bottom. Stop. Here we go. Yeah.